Hello, genealogists. It's Craig with Just Genealogy. Today I want to talk about the National Road. And the reason I want to talk about the National Road is it's one of my favorite topics, largely because my second great-grandfather worked on the National Road around Effingham, Illinois in 1827, and he was the first white man to be in the county at a place called Blue Lick, which I don't know where that is, but obviously it's near Effingham. And when he was done working on the road, he returned to Effingham, and his was the second marriage in the county in 1832. His name was John Owen Scott. He would go on to study with Dr. LaCrone and become a physician in Effingham County and would live a very long time. His wife would live even longer. So let's talk about the National Road. The National Road has several names. Some of them may be familiar to you. Braddock's Road from the French and Indian War, Cumberland Road, Cumberland Pike, National Pike, Western Pike, U.S. Route 40, and occasionally even Interstate 70. None of them are really the National Road, or at least the total bed of the National Road. There's a map out there on Wikipedia that shows the road going from Cumberland to Vidalia, Illinois, which then was the capital of Illinois. And you can see Effingham as the town just east of Vidalia on the map. So Braddock's Road was generally the route that Braddock went on his way to defeat, roughly. And the Cumberland Road was created in 1806, and it's basically the way that people got from Baltimore almost, because the road from Baltimore to Cumberland was already there. Taking it from Baltimore all the way to Cumberland, but I can't remember exactly what road it was funded from Cumberland to Wheeling. And that's how most people got to Ohio, Belmont County on the other side of Wheeling, Columbiana, Jefferson, that area of Ohio. That's how it got settled. That's how many Quakers from Northern Virginia, they'd head north to the Cumberland Road and then get on the road and head into Ohio when there are monthly meetings in places like Goose Creek and Waterford, actually Fairfax monthly meeting, which is in Waterford, got too big. Quakers don't tend to have building programs once they built the place. Their idea of solving the problem of things being too tight is to split the congregation up and send somebody packing some other direction. So the National Road went from Wheeling into Ohio, into Indiana, into Illinois. And it was designed to go from state capital to state capital. So it went from Columbus to Springfield to Vidalia in Illinois, which was the capital at the time. And it was designed to go in a straight line. In other words, it was not supposed to deviate. It was you drew a line, and that's where the road went. And if you look at the road on the map, you see that pretty much it was a straight line from one place to the other. There was some thought about extending the road into St. Louis, but they shelved it because of the railroad. But eventually a road got built into St. Louis. So the question was, where should it start? They thought about it starting in Philadelphia, and they recognized that that would be 360 miles, but if they did it straight, it would only be 308. And then Baltimore to Ohio was 275 miles, but straight was 224. From D.C. to Ohio was about the same, and that makes sense given the locations of D.C. and Baltimore, and how they would pretty much have to go the same way almost. And then Richmond to Ohio was 377 miles, 247, but it contemplated new roads because things were pretty bad and there was no existing inducement actually to go from Richmond. And that's because the mercantile intercourse of citizens of Ohio with Philadelphia and Baltimore existed, and it didn't really exist with the Potomac, the District of Columbia, and even less with Richmond. And Baltimore was becoming larger and larger as time was going by, and was, in fact, a hubbub of activity in this time frame before the 1850s. So why Cumberland? Cumberland was selected pretty much because there already was a road from Baltimore to Cumberland and a road from Cumberland to Wheeling, the Cumberland Pike. And it just made sense to improve what was there and then move on. So they funded it through annual appropriations. They employed a bunch of surveyors, and each surveyor tended to employ 2 chain carriers, a marker, a vane man, and a pack horse man. And they had a horse, and according to Josiah Thompson, that horse was indispensable and really beneficial to what they were doing. It was funded annually, beginning in 1806, and it was about $30,000 a year. And basically, it funded 1/2 the breadth of the road. And if you see pictures of the road, you'll see that a child's wagon probably couldn't get down it easily. But anyway, in other words, it's a one-way road. It's not a two-way pike. There are lots of letters back and forth in regards to funding between Gallatin and Montgomery that can be found in the serial set. This road opened in 1818, and it's how just about everything moved. Now, in the process of building the road, there were several state petitions. An example of one was Indiana, where they hoped that the route of the Cumberland Road from Columbus to Indianapolis and thence to Vidalia might be changed so as to pass through Centerville and Terre Haute. And Andrew Jackson said, nope, straight line. That's what we're doing. That's what the law says. Forget you, in so many words. So what happens early on is the Ohio legislature goes and tries to do the same thing and hopes that they can convince the powers that be that it go through Dayton. And again, it was no. So what the folks in Dayton did was they built a road, and they connected up with the National Road and around about Springfield. And this road went from Springfield to Dayton to Eaton to just outside of Richmond, and that's Richmond, Indiana. All of this is in Ohio. And it bypassed Vidalia, Ohio, and Englewood. Now, the National Road went through Vidalia and Englewood, but there was this cutoff. This cutoff was only 4 miles longer, was a better road, and there were big towns along the way. So there were accommodations and those kind of things, whereas going on the National Road, there was just little villages. They even put a sign up saying the National Road this way, and it was pointing towards Dayton. But the truth of the matter is they didn't have to do that for very long because people became aware that, in fact, it was a much better road. So there was some thought of continuing the 70 through Dayton and then up to Richmond, but that just didn't happen when it came time to build Interstate 70. So Interstate 70 pretty much follows the route of the National Road, and the Dayton Cutoff is something else. So there's a book about all this. It's called The Old Pike, A History of the National Road, and we sell a lot of these to the National Road Museum, or whatever it's called, along the National Road. And this work covers many aspects of the road and names a lot of the people involved. And those people who made their living from the road, and there are a lot of pictures of people and illustrations. And because it's my nature to provide a discount, this book will be available for a 20% discount for the first 25 people who want it. If you use the code Old Pike. Let's try to keep it simple, folks. So this has been Craig, Just Genealogy, another day. See you tomorrow.